Hello and welcome to UCAS session 6, this time on open days. This will be a short presentation just about how open days work. So right now is the prime time for university open days. Usually June, July and then September and October are the times when the vast majority of universities get these done. June and July particularly, because of the summer months and it's a really nice time to go, are a really good time to book these. But there will be some in September and October as well. Universities are usually closed in August. Um, the university open days allow you to visit a university that you're interested in applying to, and be able to talk to the admissions tutors and people on those courses that might appeal to you. They're absolutely fantastic to get the vibes of a city, to get the vibes of what a university is like, but also to get to know some of the people who might actually be handling your application, and they do remember you. Now, obviously, this year is going to be different, and looking at the lists, the vast majority of universities this year are doing virtual open days, and they will look different according to the university. I am sorry, you aren't going to necessarily be able to get the vibes of the university and actually be able to see the city you could be staying in the same way that you might have done in other years. Hopefully, maybe in September or October, who knows? But the virtual open days will still be useful as well because you'll still hopefully have access to be able to speak to people on the course or speak to people who organise the course. And it will still give you a good idea of what the course content is about. And in fairness, you may well get a lot of extra information that you might not have done on an ordinary physical open day. It is very worth attending. Okay, now one of the reasons for this is that some universities do keep a record of who's attended their open days, and they will cross-reference that with who has applied to their courses. Now, it's not necessarily a key aspect of who they take on, but where they've got two students who are similar and they've got to decide between them, some universities do give preference to a student who has shown keenness and enthusiasm by attending one of their open days. This isn't every university. I couldn't even tell you precisely which universities do this. I do know a couple, um, but some do. So if you are interested in that university, you've got nothing to lose by joining their virtual open day. And actually, it could help you further down the line. Now, in ordinary times, we would allow you for 3 open days during school time per term. Okay, which is very, very reasonable. So 3 days during this summer term and 3 days in the autumn term. Now, we would ask you to avoid doing more than that, because lots of open days happen at the weekends as well. So 3 during actual school time is reasonable, and then we would ask you to do the rest in your own time during the weekends. If you are travelling somewhere far away, such as Ulster or Scotland, or very, very far down south, such as Brighton or Southampton, and you're staying over, so you need more than one day to attend just the one open day, I would still count that as one. Okay, I'd still count that as one day. Um, I would say, because we aren't in school as often this term, um, please try and avoid open days on the few days that you are meant to be in school. Um, these days when you are in school is going to be really important. But if an open day is is at a university that you really want to go to, and it just happens to be on a day when you are in, and there's nothing that can be done about that, then I would support you going. Okay, if it's a university that you are very, very keen on, then I think you have to put the priority on the open day rather than coming into school. Okay, if it's a university that you are just sort of moderately interested in, or you're really not sure about, I would say maybe put school first. Okay. At the end of this PowerPoint, you'll find a list of places where you can search out open days. Particularly the UCAS website is very useful for that. So keep a lookout for yourselves on the websites of the universities, okay? And just complete a leave of absence form at school if you are going to be missing any days, and hand that to me to sign. But you'll also want to go online to the university and book your place on those days, because the virtual ones will fill up. When you're there, or when you're on the virtual open day online, okay, so this really covers either eventuality, physically there or otherwise. Try and get a feel for the layout of the campus as far as you can. On a virtual one, that might be quite difficult, but it's still a good idea to download or print out a map of the university, just so you've got an idea of what the campus looks like and how it feels. Have a look at where the university is in relation to the town and the city as well. If it's a campus that's meant to be in town, how close is it to town? If you think of where Nottingham Trent is in relation to the city centre, then the city centre campus is right in the city centre, 5 minutes walk, and you are very much in the centre. But if you think of where Nottingham University is in relation to the city centre, that's quite a bus ride away. You've got to decide what you want. Make sure with a virtual open day you've got a plan of the day, and what webinars there are, and what there is to do on the day, and make sure you're in the right sections of your virtual open day. And please sketch out any questions you might need answers to. They should hopefully have question and answer sections. So make sure you've got a list of the key questions you want to ask. Generally, certainly on the virtual ones, there'll be at least one or two subject talks, possibly sample lectures that will be live streamed or will have been recorded. You may be able to do a virtual department visit. There may be webinars about things like student finance or the application process. Make sure you look at what they've got planned for the virtual open day, and make sure that you have planned out what you're going to do with your time on the virtual open day, and make sure you're doing things that are going to be the most effective for you. Okay, spend some time as well having a look at whatever you can find about the town and the city and what that looks like, especially if you aren't physically able to go. Some key questions you might want to ask about the course to your admissions tutor. So, what grades do you need? And can you still get a place if you don't quite get the grades? How lenient do they tend to be when it comes to students not quite getting the grades? Some courses are extremely strict because they're very, very popular. Other courses less so, and the admissions tutors will usually be very honest with you about that. What qualifications and combinations of qualifications do they prefer? And it's really important you know that. If you ask that question and the answer actually is that they don't particularly like the combination of A levels you're doing, then you know to avoid that university. You know not to waste a choice on them. Do they use the UCAS tariff? Or will they count all your qualifications? So that means, do they ask for points, as in UCAS points, to get in, or do they ask for a specific set of grades? Different universities do different things, so that does make a difference, because if they ask for ABB, okay, and they specifically want ABB, that's different to a course that asks for a UCAS tariff, where actually the same number of points as ABB might be got by someone getting AAC, and they would accept that. So you need to know those sorts of things. Would they count things like core maths? Would they count things like EPQ? You need to know that. Is it worth applying for more than one course? If you really like the university and you can apply for more, and there's more than one course that you like, would they be open to that, or are they likely to automatically reject you for one if you apply for two courses at that uni? Ask them, how do they select the candidates they make offers to? That is really important, because every university is different. So how do they make those selections? What are they looking for? What is that admissions tutor looking for in your personal statement and application? What do they want to see from the students they take on? And often they'll be very, very honest with you about that, and you can really glean some golden information from what they tell you. Are there any reading or activities they would recommend to do in advance to be able to put on your personal statement? Ask them, do they hold interviews or a selection, or do they just offer places? Universities are all different. The courses are all different. Popular courses may well do an interview stage as well. Um, if it's relevant to you and you're thinking about a gap year or deferred entry, ask about that. How do they feel about that? Are they keen on those? Um, so there's a number of questions you can ask, and really spend some time thinking about what questions you know the answers to. Think about yourself. How is the course going to make you more employable? Ask them, do they offer placements or arrange internships or arrange time in industry? Do they have any contacts they can use to help you with work experience? Um, what do students on that course end up doing? Find that out. Do your best to find that out. What do the previous students tend to go on doing? And not just the very, very, best, luckiest of them. What does the average student tend to go on to do? Um, what proportion of students carry on after their degree into postgraduate study? That's quite important. Do you need to do postgraduate study to get a job in that chosen degree? Okay. What careers guidance facilities are there? All of these are very important questions for you. So please have a look at these links. Okay, opendays.com is useful. The most comprehensive list of open days is on UCAS, and you need to follow that link. What I would suggest is use the filters on that page to cut out things you don't want. So, for instance, postgraduate open days are for people who are finishing their degree and want to go on to a master's or a PhD. That's not what you want to do at this point. You're looking for undergraduate ones, so you can filter those postgraduate ones out. You can also filter out dance conservatoires and art schools and things like that if that's not relevant to you. So use the filters on that and make yourself a schedule of which ones you're going to book onto.